Hello, gamers from around the world. This is Boxenberger, the video game enthusiast from Germany, and I would like to welcome you to the World of Gaming, your number one podcast, where you're not just getting one host, but from now on out, you will get two hosts with this guy right over here, my good friend Wandering Dutch, agreed to join the World of Gaming as a permanent co-host of the show. So I would, even though he isn't here for the first time, I would like to welcome him with a special welcome as a co-host. Man, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing awesome. It's obviously a pleasure to be here, and we had discussions kind of after the show last time, and it just makes complete sense, to be honest. Relieves a little bit of stress from your end as well on the guest side in case of like last minute changes and things. You've always got you're not just speaking to yourself or postponing a show.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, it's awesome to be here, and it's obviously an awesome community. So I can't wait to start on this new podcast adventure with yourself.
Yeah, looking forward to it. I mean, we know each other for a long time now. We've been podcasting for more than 2 years now, I think, together. So it only makes sense. And like you said, it can be stressful to have a show with only one guest because, well, stuff happens all the time and people have to move their plans around. And then you gotta call in favors, and you do that many times. And so this doesn't mean that we won't have guests going forward from next week on. We're gonna have the weekly regular guests, but occasionally, of course, it will happen that something doesn't line up, and so we will still end up having a great show. And it also just is awesome to chat with you gaming each and every week. It just is. I feel like we always have fantastic conversations. And so thank you for doing this. And let me also welcome the outstanding community. I already see a lot of familiar names in the chat. The chat is filling up. So if you haven't already, let people know that we are live. YouTube these days with the notifications, it can be weird because this week we actually have some game news. I was really surprised when I compiled the list of possible topics for the week, and it was like, probably not the biggest news of the week of the year this week, but there is like a lot of game related news. So we're gonna talk this week, of course, about a couple of delays. We're gonna talk about some leaked information on Grand Theft Auto, Star Wars: The Night of the Old Republic. We will talk about Diablo 4. There's some awesome news about Diablo 4, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about it. So that's exciting. And also Hogwarts Legacy and Beyond Good and Evil. We got some news on that. And we've got rumors about a Black Panther game. So that's going to be exciting. But we also have the quarterly earning report from Xbox, which is quite interesting. And a couple of other interesting stuff. So, yeah. With no further ado, I would like to talk with you about the games of the week. All right, I see you feel the groove. So, as the new co-host, if you find a certain melody or jingle you want me to implement, I'm definitely gonna change these jingles up every once in a while. So just let me know. And before we talk about the games of the week and what we are currently playing, I would just want to briefly say two big thank yous to Sith Lord and Studos, Midweek Mix-Up Studos. They both just became a channel member. I really appreciate the support. It's so awesome of you. With that, you will get not only access to custom-made badges and emojis, but also early access to the videos. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the support. Shout out to you. And yeah, Dutch, let us know, what have you been playing? And people in chat also, I want to hear from you guys. What have you guys been playing?
Yeah, for me, obviously, I still need to get around to playing Stray. I'm going to do what you did and just upgrade to the middle tier of
Yeah.
PS Plus and download it that way. I'm going to be fair, and the only issue is the only reason I haven't been playing Stray yet is because I barely touched the PlayStation. We've had this discussion as to why I barely touch it now.
Yeah.
It isn't because I don't want to play the games; it's because it's so damn loud. It takes away from everything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Stray shouldn't stress it. Stray should be pretty fine when it comes to that. So I'll jump back on, play Stray, finish that because I know it's nice and short. So I'm looking forward to that. But I've been playing Age of Empires with yourself, Age of Empires 4,
Okay.
which of course it's always a good time.
Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Yeah. I did actually play because everybody has tried it. I did actually play Power Wash Simulator the other day as well.
I've seen a lot of people play that. How is it? Is it really as addictive as it?
Not so much for me at the end, specifically with how long some of these sections get because they get super long. It can get to the point where you're just like, I just want to finish it now. But it is co-op as well, so if you want to just jump in and co-op it with a friend and wash things down to a squeaky clean, then go for it. But I suppose if you're just doing absolutely nothing and you want to like put a podcast on in the background or listen to some music or something, it's the age-old, say, Minecraft adage where you can just mindlessly play the game and just listen to something in the background while you're doing it. It's one of them kind of things, and so yeah, it's okay. I can kind of for those maybe with OCD or just doing daft things, they can maybe do that. I can understand why some people might enjoy it, but simulators seem to be kind of more all the rage these days. There's quite a few of them knocking around, whether it's Truck Simulator or Power Wash Simulator. You're on mute still.
Oh, yeah, man. Sorry. I'm still trying to get the my footage copied over from Stray. I forgot to do that prior to the show, and now like the PlayStation 5 is having a USB 3 port, yeah. But if you copy a video file that you recorded onto your USB stick or USB drive, it doesn't use the USB 3 protocol, so it copies with the speed of like USB 2. So like a 17, 18 gigabyte file takes you like 30 minutes to copy onto a stick. It's really weird. I don't know why why they do it. So yeah, that's why I'm always turning around. I'm just waiting for the thing to copy over so that we can watch some footage from Stray while we talk about all the things in the world of gaming. Yeah, so but please, I interrupted. Yeah, there is this lawnmower simulator, power wash simulator, all these simulator stuff of the daily house chores. I don't know if I want to power wash something. I have so many things upstairs that I could power wash.
I was going to say then, of course, you've got other games like House Flipper, where you essentially get a really old battered house that's full of rubbish and things, and you do it all up and rekit the house from scratch and things like that. Yeah, there's so many different things to do these days. I think everything's covered: truck simulator, car simulator, mechanic simulator, PC builder simulator.
Yeah.
There's something for everybody. That's the beauty of gaming, I suppose. There is literally something for everybody, whether for
True.
OCD guys, for anything to kind of go over the top with. I think there's a lot of stuff for people to do. Aside from that, what else have I been playing? Really, PUBG a little bit. I mentioned that yesterday as well. Played PUBG's new map. Tried it out on the Series S. Not much of a massive improvement on Series S, to be honest, because it's just 1080p now. Everything else seems to be pretty much the same. It's got a new map. Series X is where they've kind of boosted it, so it's kind of higher resolution textures and 4K, locked 60, and a lot of extra things to go with it. Nice new map, like I say, things load a little bit quicker, so it's a little bit more improved on Series X now, which is good. It's going to get a lot of people back in. And Series S, of course, is pretty decent as well.
Yeah.
Um, that's about it. That's about it, to be
What
honest.
about the Hot Wheels DLC?
Yes, yeah, did play that with the guys the other day. That was awesome. I did really enjoy that, to be honest. And I've mentioned it myself before. As much as I love it, and I love the quality that Playground put into these things, I still wish they had put the time into creating a new experience that was
Mm.
different, like a Micro Machines or something kind of off the wall. Again, it's not to say I don't appreciate Hot Wheels. It's brilliant. It's 4 times the size of the previous one. Did more in this one than they probably could have done in the previous, back on the third iteration. But
Yeah.
I just wish they'd do something else. It's still great, though. Still great.
It is. It is. I really appreciate what they did with that DLC. Like, I feel like the ability to still drive off the yellow and blue tracks, stuff
Yeah,
like that, really helped. The showcase races are significantly better than
yeah,
in the first Hot Wheels DLC. So,
yeah. I was going to say
um,
as well, to add to that, it's a win-win situation though for them, because they know that the Hot Wheels DLC
yeah,
was essentially the highest fan favorite and the most successful and most popular DLC that they've released for the series. Full stop. So it makes absolute sense that they went and revisited that, because it was a fan favorite and people loved
yeah,
it. And they always talk about it now, and people always go back, even playing from 5 to Hot Wheels on 3, just to play the Hot Wheels DLC. Um, so it makes complete sense that they went and revisited it for fan favoritism, should we say?
yeah,
But from a purely selfish point of view, I want to see something else from them.
yeah, yeah. Can totally understand that, and I think you will see something brand new with the next DLC, whatever it will be. Yeah, we shall see. We shall see. So, what have I been playing? Of course, I still am not over my addiction of Age of Empires 4. We talked about that a little bit during the Midweek Mix-Up podcast yesterday. Season 2 is in full swing here with Age of Empires 4. It's like yeah, it turns out that they buffed a little bit the civilization of the French, and now everyone is playing French, and I really hate them. They are like the worst civilization to play as, and yeah. Uh, so the that's what kept me busy. I'm still trying to figure out how to beat the French properly, but they kind of feel like so overpowered now. It is, yeah. I hope they do something about that,
Yeah,
because it's really like no one else is playing. Like 9 out of 10 matches that you find online are against like the French. So yeah, and I already see Mr. Joanna Dark saying in the chat that he is creating a hashtag play the French in Age of Empires 4 versus Boxenberger. Yeah, that's what people are already doing. Everyone is playing French against me. So, yeah, but enough about Age of Empires. I also played Stray, and I'm
yes,
still waiting for the PS5 to finish copying my footage over, because I really enjoy that game. So I decided I had I had the PS Plus base subscription
yeah,
for like another 11 months or so, and I decided to upgrade for, I think it was 32 or 33 euros, to the middle tier, the essential tier, and with that I got to play Stray, which launched day one in the PS Plus subscription, and it is really good, man. I'm enjoying it. It's a calming game. It's like a riddle game. I wouldn't say open world. It has certain open areas, but it does a fantastic job in guiding you without setting like markers. You need to go this way or that route. That's really not what the game is doing, but the world is designed in a way that you like, oh, I see that kind of window, or this window type. I know I can go in that building or over there. So it's really well designed, and I'm truly surprised about the story. It has actually a good story. I'm really
yeah.
enjoying. but I feel like I'm really close to the end now. If it feels like it is the last, really the last section of the game that I'm in now. So
Yeah.
I like another 30 minutes to an hour or so, and I will be done with the game. But it is definitely worth a playthrough. Really enjoyed that. Yeah, and then I've also started, of course, the Forza Horizon DLC. Didn't play as much as I expected because the Age of Empires 4 is just drawing me back in all over again.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is a great DLC. And I've already downloaded, of course, As Dusk Falls. Still trying to find the mood to start that game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, yeah, since I upgraded to PS Plus Essentials, I also downloaded a couple of PlayStation games that I haven't played yet, like the Demon Souls remake and Shadow of the Colossus. So I'm gonna start one of those as well as soon as I'm done with the current one. So yeah, let's see what people in chat are playing. So I see, of course, Masshole playing Power Wash Simulator. He says it owns his life. Yeah, I've seen a lot of people like that. Stuffed John is playing still Mass Effect 1. No, he completed Mass Effect 1, and he didn't start Mass Effect 2 yet. So he is streaming as Duskfall already also. So yeah, what else have people been playing? Mr. China Dark is still playing his Game of the Year, Peppa Pig. So
Naturally. Yeah.
naturally, absolutely. No, I'm just making that up, of course. Yeah, and Steve Watson is playing Power Wash Simulator, Mad Max, and Tropico 6. That is awesome. Good stuff there. Forsaken Ghost just got a PS5. Congratulations, dude.
Nice.
Very nice. And he's going back to Horizon Zero Dawn. You can't go wrong with that. Great stuff. Xenoblade 3 is also coming up from Mr. Joanna Dark. So, yeah, I see that the chat has a good taste. It definitely does have a good taste. But yeah, man, let's move to some news of the week. All right. Dude, while we are waiting for the stray footage to be copied, I don't know if the entire thing crashed. It's stuck at like 100% for like, I don't know, 10 minutes now. So we're just gonna have a view on some footage from what is probably my game of the year so far. That is Dying Light 2.
Dying Light 2. Yeah.
Fantastic game. Let me briefly thank the first super chat that comes in from Mr. Joanna Dark. He sends in $2 and says, Peppa Big beats Paw Patrol. Yeah, I disagree. I absolutely disagree here. Paw Patrol is the kid game this year. All right, man. Listen, almost breaking news. Warhammer Darktide just got delayed like an hour prior to the show. So Warhammer Darktide was one of the most anticipated Xbox games this year, even though it's not a first-party game. It was announced exclusively for Xbox and PC, of course. It was supposed to be day one Game Pass drop, and they delayed it to November 30th. But just the PC version. And they just said the Xbox version is gonna launch shortly after PC, but they didn't give a specific date for the console version. So yeah, man, it kind of feels like these days almost all the news we get are about delays. So what do you think? Warhammer Darktide, was that a game that you were looking forward to?
And not so much. It wasn't so much looking forward to. I would have played it. But after playing a few of the other Warhammer games, they've had issues usually on launch. The previous Warhammer game didn't do too great. So it wasn't so much that I was excited for it, but it was a game I was looking forward to trying. The more I'd seen the gameplay footage and the trailers and things like that, the better it was looking. But it just kind of sums up this year, doesn't it? There's numerous delays, and I think we're not even done yet. I think there's going to be a significant amount more of delays coming up soon for certain games, and we still don't have an official Hogwarts release date yet.
We are getting to that. We are getting to that in a second.
Yeah,
But yeah,
but
you're
yeah,
right. We don't have
it's
a date
it's it's
yet.
unfortunate. I think the only thing is it's sounding likely that it could go into a January release here. I know they said shortly after, but with them saying we won't even give a date at this point, that to me doesn't sound like they're overly confident of having
Yeah.
it ready in December.
Yeah, I agree. I agree there. I mean, like, if you release the PC version on November 30th, you basically have 3 weeks left, the first 3 weeks of December, because then we are already in the Christmas break.
Yeah,
And if you're not feeling confident to put out a date like that now, I think like it's gonna be January or so, maybe
yeah.
even later. We don't know if they are having issues with like porting stuff over to the console or so. So yeah, I kind of feel for that game because like I think game releases are so light this year with all the
You know what it is?
delays.
It's just Xbox's luck as well because
Yeah,
everything that they've had lined up,
just kind of
everything
got
is
delayed.
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I
Even like
agree.
when the first party stuff delayed, we were like, right, okay, well, we've got second party stuff still there, and now that stuff's starting to roll. You're like,
Mm.
oh god, this is going down as one of the weakest years on Xbox
Yeah,
in recent history.
absolutely. Yeah, it does. And I feel like what I was getting at is like 2022. I'm not just talking Xbox first party content, but generally speaking, also from third party, is a
Yeah,
really light year. It
yeah,
Yeah, if you compare it to the last 5 to 10 years, it just is a very light year in terms of game releases. So basically, the community is hungry for more games, and I feel like if you could bring out a game this year, it's automatically gonna be a success because it's literally the only game that people can play.
yeah,
Um, it just is, yeah. So I've said that about Saints Row. I'm not taking away anything from Saints Row. It could be good, it could be bad. I don't know. I hope it's good. I'm looking forward to it, but I feel like that game is going to be a massive success, and simply for the reason because nothing came out for like 4 months or so by the time this comes out, and
yeah,
people are just hungry for something to play. And
yeah.
especially games like a Warhammer Darktide could have really benefited from that kind of hype. So I kind of feel bad for the developers that they had to delay it. I respect the decision. Don't get me wrong. I respect it. But I kind of feel bad for them because knowing that, like, okay, they are dropping now at the end of November, uh, when everyone is gonna play like games like God of War Ragnarok and Hogwarts. We're gonna get to that in a second because we have something about the release date there. Um, it will be tough on PC and on on the console side of things. It's gonna come out what now? January, February,
Yeah,
and that's the time when games are really coming in hard. And games like a Warhammer Darktide, which is kind of like that double A game, is just gonna get overshadowed by releases like a Redfall, like a Starfield, a Forza, a Diablo, a I don't know, Suicide Squad, and whatnot. So yeah, but it just is like it is. COVID really the impact of COVID really shows this year.
yeah. 100%.
Yeah, yeah. Man, since we talked about Hogwarts, I actually wanted to bring that up a little later, but yeah, there have been some news. There was a companion book um for the game out there, and they hinted shipping the details along with shipping details for a collector's edition, and it was scheduled for a release in December. So exactly December 6th. And now everyone assumes, well, this is gonna come out December 6th. It would make sense, of course, if that's the timeline for like the company book and companion book and the and a collector's edition. So, yeah, kind of looks like Hogwarts is coming December 6th. You think that's a good date? It's really late after Black Friday, which is unusual for such a big game.
Yeah, it's. I think it is like you say. It's a strange date. I think more strange because, of course, by that point, a lot of parents would have done their shopping,
Yeah.
and Hogwarts specifically for kids that are looking forward to a Harry Potter game or something like that. Might have already done all their shopping, and the wait.
Yeah.
The parents aren't going to find out when this release date is. It's what's the likelihood of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
unless they're
Right.
unless they're trolling the internet for it and waiting and waiting and waiting. It's yeah, it's a strange date, but if they're trying to get into the Christmas feud and get in there kind of as should we say late to the day, but still catch the Christmas rush, they might just do it. It would be a semi-smart move, to be honest, because let's face it, the Hogwarts / Harry Potter universe is huge. So I'm fully expecting, no matter when that game releases, anyway, for it to do very well.
Yeah.
I think there's a big enough fan base there anyway to carry that game.
I agree. I mean, I'm not sure if it plays a role, but Hogwarts is heavily advertised by Sony, and
Yeah.
Sony does have God of War coming out in November, November 9th or so, I think. Yeah, November 9th, and 1 month earlier in October they have the Last of Us remake, and so yeah, it could be that it has to do something with that they said, well, let's move that a little bit around here. But it is a weird date, but I'd be happy if it came out this year. And
Yeah.
I like you said earlier, like every game that doesn't have a release date this year, but is still scheduled for this year, at this point, I think is a good candidate for another delay.
Yeah.
But I really want to play Hogwarts. I feel like Hogwarts would be the perfect game for like the Christmas break, you know.
Oh,
That
100%. Well, a magical world where you can do what you want. 100%. It would
exactly.
be tremendous.
Yeah.
I've got like my five kind of solid picks, six if I include one of the indie games for this year that I'm looking forward to anyway.
Let us know. I want to know.
I've got obviously Callisto Protocol, 100%.
Yeah.
Hogwarts, if it's still slated, if it is actually slated for December, Hogwarts, 100%. One of my others, Avatar, was delayed until, well, essentially indefinitely. But yeah, so Callisto Protocol, Hogwarts, High on Life, which caught me immediately. Like I say, I've spoke about this before. I'm so looking forward to High on Life. That just looks absolutely awesome.
It is.
God of War, Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Metal Hellsinger, which is the indie choice for me. Can't wait
Great
for that
pick.
game.
Yeah,
Already got
that
it
demo
pre-ordered.
was awesome.
Yeah, already got it pre-ordered. It's only 33 pounds as well, British, which is like less than 40 euros, which is awesome considering what they've done with that game.
Yeah, I think it's 39.99 here across Europe mainland. So
yeah. And last but not least, Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh yeah. Man, some fantastic choices. I want to hear from people in chat as well. What are the 5 games you're looking forward to the most this year? For me, it's also definitely a Plague Tale Requiem. I also want to play Gotham Knights. I know people say it doesn't look good, needs more polish and so on. It's probably not got the most mind-blowing graphics, but I think it still looks pretty good. And so far, every of these Arkham games have been, including Origins, have been just fantastic. I really enjoyed them, and I want to see where they take that franchise IP with like more RPG elements and multiple characters to play. So can't wait for that. I also want to play, of course, God of War. Can't wait to play that, definitely. Then Hogwarts is up there. Absolutely can't wait. I like Harry Potter. I do. And yeah, that really looks cool. And then you mentioned Callisto Protocol. I still hope it does come out in Germany. I'm still not 100% sure if it will get censored.
Is it
But yeah,
available for pre-order on your Xbox?
I haven't checked. I don't
Because
know.
I've already got it pre-ordered on mine.
Oh, nice. I gotta check if it's available for pre-orders here. Yeah, good call. So let's see, what are people in chat excited about? Forsaken Ghost says Gotham Knights, Plague Tale, Hogwarts, and Callisto. Yeah, man, absolutely. My list, and he adds Saints Row. Steve Watson says Saints Row, Modern Warfare 2. Yeah, I see a lot of people being excited about that. It's probably gonna be the shooter of the year again, because obviously there are no other shooters coming.
Yeah.
Stuff John says Plague Tale, Gotham Knights, Pentiment. Oh yeah, he is serious. He emphasized that. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he is serious, but if so, good for you, man. Good for you.
Yeah.
Um, Masshole asks, "Is Atomic Heart coming out this year?" Yeah, man. I have actually a community question about that also for later. Uh,
Yeah.
I, we will get to that in a second. Let's just see
Yeah.
what else people are excited about. Saints Row, Plague Tale, Midnight Fight, Express, and God of War from Rick
Evil
Payne.
West
Yeah,
is a good shout. I keep forgetting Evil West, but
yeah, man. But
I'm
that's a
looking
good
forward to that.
shout. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Abnormal Lester says that. True, it is a good shout. It does look fantastic. Kirby Louise says he's considering a replay of Kirby and the Forgotten Land on the Steam Deck. And good on you for getting a Steam Deck.
Yeah.
Good shout, good stuff. Constantinodos Pascal says he is excited for Pentiment, playing Pillars of Eternity now, and Obsidian Rules. I couldn't agree more. Obsidian Rules and Pillars of Eternity is fantastic. I actually replayed the first and part of the second one as well, because I just wanted to familiarize myself again with the lore of Iora, and yeah, the writing is just exceptional. So yeah, man, good stuff here in from people in the chat. Let me bring Atomic Heart. Atomic Heart is really like an interesting and difficult conversation to have, and I haven't
Yeah.
seen a lot of people actually discuss this. But do you think it will actually come out on Xbox or PC or PlayStation, or I don't know, because
Have the developers relocated?
but within Russia, they just moved
Ah,
out of Moscow.
right.
So yeah,
I don't know how they're going to work that one then.
I don't know either. I really don't. Like Microsoft generally stopped all business with Russian companies, and
Yeah.
them being one of them. They would kind of make an exception there. So that's the one thing. But what about yourself? You gonna play it?
Um. Again, it's a two-sided story.
Mm,
I was interested in it. I still am interested in it, but it's kind of a conflict of morals, should I say?
yes, yes, it is.
With everything that's going on, I understand they're indie developers; they have actually no point or purpose in the war and what's going on. But
Yeah.
again, unfortunately, due to sales taxes and things that are related to Russian trade,
Mm,
those sales taxes are getting put towards that Russian war machine currently.
yeah.
So anything that's going towards supporting that is again, it's depends on where you. I wouldn't even say where your morals are. It depends on your view perspective. I'm not going to say take the moral high ground to anybody who wants to play it, because I understand it's an awesome looking game. It's absolutely crazy. It looks absolutely beautiful. The gameplay looks fun. It looks extremely interesting. It's just a case. It's a really tough one to think about. And again, I have nothing against anybody who does play it. It's just up to each individual whether or not they want to at that particular time.
Yeah.
And I feel sorry for the developers as well, because there's a lot of innocent people, Russia and Ukraine, that are affected by this. That
is
want
the thing.
nothing.
Like, I know that not every Russian is pro Putin, and I know not every Russian is supporting what is happening over there. On the other hand, like you said, every cent we throw towards the developers, parts of it through taxes and such, will end up in that system. And I at least, I could be wrong here, but I haven't seen any statement or something from the developers there to separate themselves from the regime of Putin. So yeah, it's a tough one. I get that people want to play it because it does look good. I for myself have made it but I understand other opinions there. I won't play it. I won't support it. Just for the reasons I just mentioned. But yeah, it is a tough topic to discuss, man. So, but I would be honestly surprised if it actually came out. Because Microsoft really made a point about not doing business with Russian.
Yeah, I would say it's not even just that. Of course, you've got trade sanctions, like worldwide trade sanctions against Russia. So it's more of not just morally. Now it's a case of how is that going to work? How are they going to pay them? Or are they going to literally sit on royalties until sanctions are slightly reduced when things have been resolved, whether that be end of a war, whether that be some kind of agreement between the two countries, we don't know. But is it a case of sitting on royalties until it's resolved and then being able to pay them later on down the line? I don't know.
I don't know either. Yeah, we shall see how that will turn out. Like I said, it's a difficult discussion to have. So yeah. But we are not shying away from those. Sometimes we gotta address the real life stuff, people. It's just like how it is. So yeah, GTA 6 got some news this week. Let's bring it over there. So Bloomberg, with the likes of Jason Schreier, for those who aren't blocked by him, he put out a few things. So take it all, of course, with a grain of salt. But I've seen that it's been a discussion out there. Grand Theft Auto will take place in an area based on Miami and the surrounding areas. It may feature a female playable character. The Bloomberg claims that the development began around sometime in 2014, but it is at least 2 years away. The woman who's going to be the main character is a Latina. She will be one of a pair of leading characters in a story influenced by the bank robbers Bonnie and Clyde. Developers are also being cautious about not to punch down by making jokes about marginalized groups. It was reported. So that's in contrast to the previous games. And Bloomberg also reports that there will have been a cultural overhaul at Rockstar at the core of some big changes for the franchise, the studio itself. I want to quote here from the article, due to some of the changes that the company implemented in an effort to improve working conditions, such as restructuring of the design department and a pledge to keep overtime under control. So it kind of feels like they did a lot there. So, what do you think? GTA 6, female character. I know it's been a stupid point of discussions out there, but yeah, Miami as an area, for as a setting. Um, what do you think, GTA
Uh,
about GTA 6 and the news?
Um, obviously, the points from the article I disagree with completely is the release time frame that he's got out for that.
Mm,
Saying 23, 24 is I think completely unrealistic. We're talking like how long Rockstar like to take and how much detail they like to put into their games. These aren't quick turnarounds. They only announced, I think it was the beginning of this year, tail end of last year, that they went into full production for GTA 6. Literally just started full production, so they're at the beginning of the actual development cycle. So I cannot see, I cannot see that game being out within the next 2 years. If you go on the amount of, for instance, they're going to have a full online infrastructure. They're going to have the microtransactions built in, as you know, as they do, to it, and the way that economy works, um, things that you buy with it, things that you get with it, the game itself, the mocap work, the sound, the world, the environments, everything that goes into it. They don't usually release something if it's not ready. Of course, both of those games always have bugs, but they're usually just funny bugs. They're not like game breaking. Um, I just see the time scale is unrealistic. For what he's quoted there, I don't see it happening in those years. I think 25, 26 is more realistic if they're going to be kind of speeding things up at all. Um, Female character doesn't bother me in the slightest. Obviously, it shouldn't bother anybody. What I have said though is, I personally, you're on mute still.
ah, shit. God damn it! The but the I always mute myself when I take a drink because I don't want to hear people like me
Slurping.
sipping on the bottle. But then I forget to unmute myself. Yeah, man. No, why wouldn't it would it bother anyone that it's a female character? Come on, some of the best video game characters out there are females. Like think of a Lara Croft or so. I really don't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I
makes no
like the
difference. I
idea
mean,
of it being set in Miami. I
you
think
know, I
like
was gonna say the opposite. I feel like, because if you have a think all the way back to the original GTA's, like they had
mm,
GTA London. If
yeah,
people remember that one, um,
sure,
the top down
top down
GTA's, which
one.
are always
Yeah.
very brutal and funny anyway. Um, but they've stuck solely to America for
Mm,
years. I would honestly love to see them just get out of the US and do some GTA that's based in an entirely different continent,
yeah,
an entirely
yeah,
different area altogether. Like, do something a little bit different. Like, this is what, and especially when you have a look at the level of detail in the environments they can create in the likes of Red Dead,
yeah.
and then you imagine kind of putting that into a GTA game as well, where the environments are even more like different. Like
Hmm.
in GTA 5, you had the city, you had the desert, you had the coast. That
Yeah.
was your environment. Now imagine if you did that, and you've got even more biomes, you've got even more diversity in the scenery that you visit, and
Mhm.
the map becomes a little bit more adventurous, and the missions can become a little bit more adventurous then. And it's I think, of course, we're all going to get used to the map in 2.0 milliseconds, um and everything that goes along with it. But I'd love to see them go and do something outside of the US, or something that's based outside of the US for a change.
Yeah, I
Um,
love that idea. I haven't thought about it this way. But yeah, that would be cool. I think like in the US, Miami still is a great place because it's like if you think about the Rockstar games, they have always been visually, of course, top
yeah,
notch. Like look at Red Dead Redemption 2, that game still looks like phenomenal. And I feel like that kind of biome area, Miami Bay area is gonna make some beautiful, beautiful set pieces.
Yeah.
So yeah, I enjoyed it, but of course, I haven't thought about it actually. But I like the idea of GTA getting out of the US for a change.
Yeah.
Yeah, we shall see, man. Like you said, it's probably gonna be a while. I see. I want to read one comment from the chat from Kirby Louise. He says, um, hearing that they have gone woke and cut down on the insensitive jokes is a very bad sign. And I feel like he's got a point there. I
Yeah.
mean, that's one of the things that made GTA what it is. Yeah, one of
Yeah.
the most successful games ever made. So I get why such a mainstream game kind of wants to be politically correct, but on the other hand, like, come on.
The problem I was going to say, the problem a lot of people have these days is that they don't like being reminded of reality. And a lot of
Yeah.
the stuff that Rockstar does in GTA is the reality of a human civilization. Like
Mm,
like humanity as a whole is absolutely absurd if you actually look into the things that we do and do to each other and happens in the real world. And
mhm.
GTA makes fun of that absurd, like absolute absurd human nature. Like the fact that we've got things like strippers kind of walking the streets and prostitutes and things all over the place. Like that is a real life thing. Like of course, it as much as like doing harm to these people or individuals, these NPCs that are walking around. As much as people hate to say it in a video game, unfortunately, it happens in real life. Like it's
Yeah.
the absurd nature of humanity, and people that again woke culture might not like to see it in a video game, but unfortunately, it is part of life. I think Rockstar draw again, and it is absurd, and of course they've had numerous kind of bad news articles and bad press and things about it over the years. And you shouldn't have this in video game. You shouldn't do this in video game. But it's not about like where people need to draw the line is understanding. And again, it's about teaching your kids this as well. If your kids play video games or if they go into school, whatever it is, video games are not real life. What you do in that video game doesn't transfer in real
Yeah.
life. You cannot do what you do in there in real life, and you need to understand the switch off point. And that's what every kid needs to understand as well playing games. So if you're going to allow them to play that anyway, and I know a lot of people, a lot of parents, specifically in the UK as well, don't care about their kids playing GTA. And we know as parents, you wouldn't have
Yeah.
your kid playing GTA because you know what's in it. It is an adult game. At the end of the day, it is rated as an adult only game.
Yeah.
So to then say, oh, you can't do X, Y, and Z, or
Mm.
and kids can't be playing this. No, they can't. It's an 18 plus
Yeah.
game, so it shouldn't be playing it at all. But the
Exactly.
parents are allowing them to, and this is where you start getting some of this tie-in. But yeah, it's again Rockstar. I don't think. I think that's it's likely a rumor that they're bowing down to woke culture. I don't foresee Rockstar doing that at all. Not
I
with
think so
GTA.
too. Yeah, I think so too. They know that this is like a core piece of what makes GTA GTA,
Yeah.
and for them to remove it, yeah, I don't
And
see that happening
I was
either.
gonna say as well, like a lot of the things they've got in there, um, like I haven't seen that they haven't been sensitive to sorry, insensitive. They haven't been insensitive to races. They
Mhm.
haven't been insensitive to cultures. They haven't been insensitive to people as a whole. Um, if
Yeah,
you actually look into it, like obviously with Franklin and his whole timeline and things like that, and then of course you had GTA San Andreas and you had kind of the gangs there and things like that. That wasn't insensitive at all to the cultures there. Of course, with four you had Nico and you had kind of the Russians and things that come into it, and that
yeah,
wasn't really insensitive. That was just, I think, what they do in terms of how they portray it is is correct. If people don't like strip clubs, they don't like strip clubs. If people don't like prostitutes, they don't like prostitutes. I think the
mm.
insensitive ones are the ones that are saying, "Oh, well, you can't have that in a video game." Well, why not? Like
Yeah,
them people
yeah,
exist. They are real people. You can't, like, unfortunately, them people. it is a job, or whether it's good, bad, or otherwise, whether or not they've been forced into it because they're in depravity or whatever the situation is for them people that are doing them jobs. It is their livelihood, and it would be more insensitive to make a joke out of them. And you're not making a joke out of them; you're just including them within the universe, the mad universe that is humanity.
Yeah. Yeah. True. True. Yeah, couldn't agree more, man. I couldn't agree more. Yeah, let's move on. Diablo 4 also got some news.
Yes.
Diablo 4, there has been a leak through a PlayStation database. There has been a test version found, a PS4 and PS5 test version for Diablo 4. And I've seen a lot of people say, well, that's an old entry. And no, it's not. It's a separate one. It's not the 1 year old version. So this kind of points towards a kind of like a beta coming really soon to PS5, 4, and with that, obviously also to Xbox and PC. We were already able to register for a Diablo 4 beta, and now it seems that it's not that far away. And thanks to that leak from the PlayStation database. So, yeah, man, do you think we will get like a Diablo 4 beta this year?
Yeah, I can see that coming. Maybe it's October, November. I think they'll do that just before Christmas. They'll get everyone's the taste of the game just
Yeah.
before Christmas, just before the holidays, and then coming into the new year, everyone's still thinking fresh in their mind, really, still thinking about Diablo, ready for the game to launch next year. And obviously, it gives them plenty of time over the kind of break. If they do it like October, November, they have usually the gaming industry has a little bit of a shutdown period over December
Yeah.
for obviously for the
Family
holidays.
reasons, and yeah.
Yeah. So they'll go away. They'll be able to kind of go, right. We've learned a lot of lessons here. We'll write them all down. Have a nice break over Christmas. Come back, take what they've learned from the beta period into effect, and crack on, ready for launch. So yeah, I think it
Yeah.
will do. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I do hope you're right. I do hope you're right. I'm ready for some Diablo 4, man. It's
It
been too
looks so
long.
much better. It looks so much better.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, we love 3.
Yeah.
You it's even the remaster of 2 was awesome.
Yeah.
But what we've seen from 4, it looks like leaps and bounds ahead of both of those games, like leaps and bounds ahead. The world looks absolutely awesome. I love that it's more of an open world. They've kind of stated it is and it isn't an open world. It's far more open than previous worlds have been.
Yeah.
Um, the way that they've got these just random, absolutely random kind of sub bosses that just appear in the world and things like that, that
Yeah.
everyone has to team up with in order to defeat. Um, everything that I saw from that was like, yeah, that's the step this game needed to really push on.
Absolutely. Yeah, these kind of shared world moments where you feel like, okay, I'm not alone in that world. I can do like the world events, I can team up for certain activities, or I can just walk into the next dungeon and be on my way solo or with my co op partners, of course. And yeah, it kind of feels like really the step Diablo needed. It's completely non-linear, so that you're not doing the dungeons in a certain in a certain way
Yeah.
and order. So yeah, and the art style is exactly what Diablo needs. Like I know a lot of people completely hated how Diablo 3 looked. I didn't think it was bad. I think
Yeah.
like if we consider the time it came out, it was like a probably a trade-off also with performance, because that was really the point in time when the FPS race on PC evolved, and also the resolution race, at least on PC, was opened up, and so I kind of felt like, okay, this is a choice in order to have like 150 demons simultaneously on screen with like 8 players and stuff like that. So, but now I'm really happy that they chose this kind of art direction. It just fits the world of Diablo so perfectly, and yeah, man, I can't wait. It's this and Starfield are the two most anticipated games of next year
Yeah,
by
I can
far
see
for
you
me.
sinking copious hundreds of hours into
Mm.
Diablo 4.
Yes, I probably
It's
will.
going to overtake your Age of Empires addiction, I think.
Addiction, yeah, yeah. I need something, man. I need something to get over Age of Empires 4, and I
Have you
still.
tried? Speaking of age, back a
Mm,
second. Have you tried
you should.
downloading any of the custom game modes from the community yet?
Yes, yes, I have. And there are some really cool ones out there, but I just keep coming back to ranked matches. The ranked matches are just so good. It's like really the game doesn't do anything new with ranked matches. Like a lot of games have that ranking system, but I feel like I'm that there's really no other game I can think of that does it this well because you
Yeah,
are literally always ranked against a player that has a similar skill level like you do.
yeah,
So it's really like you can tell that everyone wins like 50% of their matches. It's amazing how this happens and how they do it. Yeah, I need to learn how to play as the French and join the club, but I just hate them, man. I hate them.
yeah.
I rather figure out a strategy against those damn French.
You know what I would
Um,
love to see another one of
Let me
a
know.
new age of mythology.
Yeah, yeah, that would be cool, man. There have been rumors out there, but I feel like these rumors are mainly based on the wish that this exists.
Yeah,
But yeah,
yeah.
um, Age of Mythology would be absolutely
I've
awesome.
still
I
got that
tell you.
installed on Steam. Actually, I've got all of them
Oh,
installed.
you
But
do?
yeah,
Nice,
yeah,
nice.
love it.
I recently reinstalled the Command and Conquer remaster um, that came out like 3-4 years ago.
Yeah,
And I've heard so many good things about it, but honestly, I couldn't get into it. It just they've done a good job in the way how they remastered it, but yeah, some of the mechanics are just a little too outdated for me.
yeah,
I couldn't really get into it, but yeah, Age of Mythology, man, 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 that would be cool.
yeah.
That would
And
be
I
so
mean,
cool.
that game itself as well, when it released, it was such
Mm,
a pretty game. And you can
yes,
only imagine and it's, God, how old's that now? It's like 15 or so years, maybe,
at
at
least,
least.
yeah,
If not older. It might
yeah.
even be older than that now, but it's such a pretty game. And even now, it stands the test of time. I think what they could do with that now would be phenomenal.
2002. So it's like
Jesus.
20 years old
Oh,
now.
God, I feel old.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It's like it's so crazy if you think about like the 360 came out 17 years ago.
I still
Like,
remember picking that up and then picking another
right?
one up when that one broke, and then picking another
Right?
one up when the Elite broke.
And I feel like still I still play some 360 games these days. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, it's really not so going back to like Arkham City and stuff like that. Obviously that it wasn't a 2005 title. It was 2010. It's already 12 years old, and like, but if you think about it, like the launch games, like a Oblivion or such,
yeah,
17 years, man. It is crazy. All right, man. Let's move on. So what else happened this week? Xbox. announced or reported their quarterly earnings report. And
Yeah.
it wasn't record breaking. I've seen a lot of media outlets already make like clickbait headlines. Yeah, uh, the Xbox hardware revenue sales declined, even though they beat the Sony sales like 3 times in the last quarter. So
Yeah.
yeah, shit like that. Let me put out some things to put it into perspective. They in the last fiscal year, the entire fiscal year, the Xbox division generated a record revenue over the entire fiscal year. Um, Microsoft reported its fourth quarter earnings, and they said that gaming revenue decreased $259 million. That's 7% compared to the same period last year. They said the decline you're seeing in Xbox hardware is partly a reflection of the fact that we had a launch uh,
Yeah.
last year, or well, last fiscal year, obviously they meant. About 2 years ago. So, with supply constraints that we had seen over the last couple of years, it has a kind of extended out that period for consoles. Nevertheless, they made 3.45 billion in quarterly sales for Xbox, and that represents the division's second best fourth quarter ever. So, that's the positive way to phrase it. Yeah, it's the second
Yeah.
best fourth quarter ever for the Xbox division. Only the last fourth quarter was better. Gaming revenue declined 7%. Yeah, and content and services were down 6%. Again, in line with the guidance that they expected. That it was expected that they seen a decline, and this, but they also mentioned that Game Pass subscribers have grown in the last quarter. So, and hardware sales dipped 11%. So, what do you make
Yeah.
of it? Expected? Did you expect Xbox to do better, or what's your take on these earning reports?
I think I find it more surprising that they continue to perform despite having absolutely nothing on the system that they can offer. Like, from a first party perspective, and let's face it, the vast majority of the time when you're buying a console, it's usually you go to one console or the other. Sometimes, and a lot of the time, it's maybe it's due to friends or historic kind of portfolio of games you've got on a previous platform and you want to continue with that platform. But I think continuing to grow and perform well, despite the fact that Xbox, as we know, this year has significantly underperformed in terms of its first party output. They haven't brung much to the table yet. Continue to get on new subscribers to Game Pass, and the sell units as quick as they go out. Like Series S is already readily available now.
Yeah.
Series X is more available than it was. You'll find them more often than not now. So I think they're starting to get on top of supply chain issues. For Xbox, PlayStation, I don't think will be that far behind, to be honest.
Yeah.
They're more readily available now to get a PlayStation than they ever have been, so it is starting to get better. But I think it's overall for Xbox, I think it's just because of and again, we talk about last year, but last year we still had lockdowns, we still had COVID and things
Yeah.
like that. People were still at home a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So
I think
naturally,
that's a good point. We need to really think about. We are comparing here April 2021 to till June 2021.
yeah,
Like you said, lockdown was still going on, and we were on the brink of the biggest Xbox releases in years. Like
yeah,
Flight Sim came out, then we had, of course, Age of Empires 4, yeah,
yeah,
and then we had Halo and Forza Horizon and Psychonauts 2, and all these games that came out last year. So that was really like the quarter where people were getting ready for that big release period. So yeah, but please do continue.
Yeah, it's obviously it's I think it's testament to what they're bringing out in it as a whole, as a package, because they again, if we just get out of gamer mentality for a second, from a selfish perspective and first party games, etc., and have a look at what they're attempting to do on a wider scale, which is trying to bring more people into gaming, trying to provide more for everybody. So even if you have a look at some of the games, although they haven't been for us specifically from a selfish perspective into Game Pass, what they have done is brought a lot of family games in there. So you've got your Paw Patrols and your Peppa Pigs and your Power Wash simulators and all of these family friendly games and things that they're bringing into there that are going to enhance that service even more. And again, much like yourself, your kids have been playing Paw Patrol or Peppa Pig. I know Boxenberger loves the Peppa Pig. I know, not Boxenberger, sorry. General C loves the Peppa Pig.
Yes, General
So
C,
he's been
and
playing
Miss
that.
Joanna Dark here in
Joanna
chat
Dark's
also.
kids have been playing that as well, and that's what it is. And it's not just us; it's about the fact that families see this as well, and they're just like, "Oh, brilliant! Okay, so they can get to play this game on here," and they're not going to be like, because kids on you can buy them a console, and specifically when they're very young, you know what they're like. You might buy them a Nintendo Switch; they'll play it really a lot first of all, and then they'll put it down, and then never gets touched for months.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I want to play it again, and this is what gaming with kids is like. So, it's a case of being able to provide to everybody, and I think what Xbox have done very well this generation is start to cater to not just your standard hardcore gamer demographic, but try to make sure that there is something for everybody. And I think that
Yeah.
is, and more places to play, whether it's big releases on PC or console, or then now the cloud,
Yeah.
you can play it anyway. I think, of course, one thing we have to look at as well is those who aren't able to afford getting new consoles.
Yeah.
The fact that they essentially are intentionally taking a hit in some circumstances by saying, don't worry, you can play these cloud games on your current Xbox One, and be able to play these new titles without having a series console.
Yeah.
So just as and when you're able to afford to buy it and get and play these natively, at least you don't miss out on these titles that are in Game Pass. You can play them. I think being as should we say unselfish in that circumstance and not forcing people to buy a console to play the newest games by providing them a route to do so,
Yeah.
will have inadvertently, of course, hit them in the pocket. But I don't think they care about that as much as they care about people being able to play the games. As in, yes, of course, naturally these look and play better natively, but we're going to give you an option to play these in the first place, even if you can't afford to get the console. And I think that is, again, like I say, that's an unselfish behavior from a company. It's going to get them a subscription for those who have still got the subscription, or even if they don't, paying £10 a month is damn sight cheaper than trying to find 500 for a console
Yeah.
to be able to play those games. So I think there's ways and means of why financial depreciation might have occurred throughout this, but I think overall, I think their plan going forward is starting to be echoed by other platforms as well.
Yeah.
And it's only going to be for everybody,
You
for
can already
gamers as
see
a
that
whole.
with like the
Yeah.
PS the PS Plus tiers, the different
Yeah.
ones. Arguably they are
And
not
again with
on.
PS Plus, and hats off to PS, because again
Yeah,
they released straight into
exactly. You can see it
PS
right
Plus,
here
and
running on the
yeah,
PS5. And I think like we will see more and more day one releases on that service as well. So yeah, I know people like to argue about, well, it doesn't have day and date, and I agree that this is definitely a fantastic value that Xbox provides, it still is, especially for those who don't have Game Pass and that only own a PlayStation. It is a good service. There's lots of good games in there. You could argue, of course, if you need both of the subscription services. Time will tell. But yeah, I agree. I also want to add something you touched on briefly in the beginning. When we look at these sales numbers, I've seen a lot of people say like, "Oh, Xbox is on the declining lane, and they are in trouble and blah blah blah." Like it is these days. The thing is, we really need to think about these earnings reports as well in a bigger context. Like, where is gaming right now? And we touched on it earlier. Like, a lot of third-party games are also getting delayed. There is really, like, we had a bunch of games in February and March coming out. Yeah, like an Elden Ring or Dying Light 2 and all these games. But then, and Tiny Tina's Wonderland. And then we had like a break. And like, of course, on outside of our hardcore gaming community, and I think like probably everyone who watches a show like this here is at least to some degree a hardcore gamer. We invest a lot of time in not just playing games but also discussing them, which is awesome. But like the more general market, the casuals, and not even just the casuals, but there are a lot of people in between, like the hardcore and the casuals, people that are interested in gaming but not as invested as we are. Um, Even for those, it was like, okay, what can we play and what can we buy? And of course, if no games release on an Xbox or PlayStation, yeah, for that matter, because we're talking now third-party games, yeah, like how can they make money and revenue? Yeah, and obviously that also translates then to hardware sales, and it's not just the demand availability. Like, there's just like the gaming industry in total, 2022 shows that the backlash of the pandemic, and there's a little less excitement than we had like in 2022 when we all got to stay at home, and then we all could get excited about the new consoles coming out. And then we could in 21, at least in the beginning of 21, we still were stuck at home, but we had like all these games coming out. And then and now we are like in a phase in 2022 where there's not much news about gaming, and there are not that many games coming out. Obviously that is going to generate you less revenue, but of course that will change towards the end of the year. We touched on it earlier about all the third-party games that are coming at the end of this year and what we are excited about. And 23 is going to be a completely different beast. I feel like 23 is the year where Xbox especially Xbox Game Pass, will really take off. So yeah.
And there was a point in the chat there as well where I kind of touching more on that, but and I'm not even going to attempt to say the first name, but second Bane, he said, "What do you think about the console updates with 40 series cards coming out? I think people are delusional to think that these consoles can keep up with 80 and 90, 80 to 100. I'm guessing he means is it TP, maybe even teraflops, 40, 80s, and 90s." My response to that, and I did give it in chat as well, but my response to that is, as much as having these new cards and pushing the technical limit forward is awesome, and obviously we want to see tech be pushed forward on a continuous basis, developers aren't moving at the same pace as this technology is. They're not pushing the upper boundaries of already what we have. No developer on the market so far has pushed a 3090 to its absolute limits. Like a top tier 3090. No one has pushed that to its breaking point, essentially. No, there hasn't been another crisis that has really tested these cards to its fullest degree. And if you couple that with the new processors, the new RAM, the new SSDs and everything that goes along with it, and how quick they're getting and how quick all the processors are getting, if you couple everything together, no dev is really truly making the most of what they have now. So it's going to be a while until we see them get to that point.
Yeah, that's definitely true, and especially in the PC market, graphics are very scalable across many devices. So, yeah, I also want to mention a point of Kirby Louise, who says, "Stop comparing compute across architectures." Yeah,
Yeah,
man, I've been saying that in my videos for a while. Like,
yeah.
if people
One's
compare,
dedicated, one isn't. You've got a dedicated platform specifically for gaming. The other one is essentially a multitude of things. You've got a lot more background processes going on with
yeah,
PC architecture.
of course that's one thing, but I know like people like to compare, like, oh, now you have, like, I don't know, 60 teraflops on the
Yeah,
4080 or 4090, and you have only like 20 teraflops here and there. I think like the thing about architectures is what people really don't get. Like, a teraflop is always a teraflop. It's always a flop is a floating point operation. It's basically like one operation. The thing is about the efficiency of the respective architecture. So, like, how many flops, so operations, do you actually need to achieve your operation? Like, I made a video and I used an example of, like, when you think about, like, making a coffee for yourself. Okay,
yeah,
you have like you want to make a coffee with milk, and usually you need like 3 steps. So, like, first you pour in the coffee. It's the first step. Then you pour in the milk, and then you take a spoon to
I'm
stir the
glad you
whole
did that
thing
the
up.
right way around. A lot of people, anyone who puts in the water before the milk.
So,
Mhm.
and there you go. And now you need 3 steps if you do it like that. But the more efficient thing is, like, you first pour in the milk, and then you pour in the coffee, and you can
Yeah,
save yourself the steering. So you can do the same thing in like only 2 steps. And that's like the thing about these architectures. But to get to the point of, yeah, is the console are the consoles gonna keep up? Well, the consoles couldn't keep up with the high-end PC at launch. But if the thing about these console generation is, like, when you compare it to the PC space, they were technically more advanced than they have ever been when you compare it to the PC space. So that is definitely a good thing. I
yeah,
still believe, I'm firmly of the belief that we will see a mid-gen refresh, because, like, technology is just moving faster than the 8-year console cycle. It just
yeah,
is. Yeah, we are looking here now. We have Zen 2 CPUs in our consoles, PS5 and Xbox Series consoles. Yeah, and this year we are already getting the Zen 4 CPUs
yeah,
coming out on
mhm,
PC. Like, the RDNA 3 cards are coming out this year, and like in 2 years we are getting RDNA 4 cards. So, yeah,
yeah,
I don't think we will see this generation like 8 years with the same consoles without a hardware refresh. And the thing really is it necessary to not? I know people are scared now. I just bought it, and then in 2 years we are getting already a new one. Well, first of all, it's always optional. Like,
yeah,
graphics really scale, and that's one thing. And the other thing is, well, there is always a market for people who want just more, a little more fidelity, a bit more stable frames. But that doesn't mean that the PS5 or Xbox Series consoles aren't a good value right now. They
yeah,
most
yeah,
certainly are.
100%,
And
100%.
so we should take that for what it is. And let's see if it's gonna come to fruition. I still think it will happen.
Yeah, yeah, pound for power, or should we say pound for output?
Mm,
If you're going on
yeah,
price for power for output, you're not going to get close to the consoles that are released
yeah,
now.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You,
Agreed.
it's not. It's again, you're going to have
And
to
that's like two
really,
years after they came out, and you still
yeah,
can't build a
you
PC
still,
for the
yeah,
same price with the same specs. Um,
with
yeah,
reliable hardware. Let's put it that way.
yeah, yeah, true, true that. All right, man. I wanna move on to a PlayStation topic.
Yeah,
Sony has released some super interesting news about PlayStation VR2. I'm not really sure where you stand with VR. So let's just briefly hear. You excited for VR2?
we'll see. Not if the price is more than the console.
Yeah, for me, it's like I
And
really
that's one of the
appreciate.
rumors that I've seen is the rumored price. And of course, we see to go on with VR, we saw
Mhm.
that Quest increased the cost of both of their headsets to by $100 on each. A significant increase on the Quest and Quest 2 or Quest 2 and whatever the next one was, by $100 per unit. And I think that in itself is kind of saying something. And if PlayStation still haven't released their pricing for this, I think they could be having those same thoughts, like, what are we actually going to price this as? And I
Yeah,
think that's going to be a big factor in people that are going to try VR.
yeah,
It's a significant outlay for a console VR headset. It's going to be awesome. The new features and things that they've got on the headset are exactly as what required. It needed to make it a lot easier for people to get into without feeling nauseous,
yeah.
or making it less nauseous.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
This time they have like the 90 hertz or 120 frames hertz panels in there, which
yeah,
definitely will help. It's like generally speaking the blueprint these days for not getting motion sickness and such. So that's the thing about VR. If you have like the right hardware, it can really be a great experience. But
yeah,
if you don't, it can really be a super bad experience, and there's really no middle ground
yeah,
there. And a lot of people who say VR isn't for me, they just haven't tried VR with the right hardware.
yeah,
So yeah, but the thing for me is like I really appreciate that Sony is investing in it and trying to make this a technology for the consumer market, even though it's probably right now not for everyone. For me,
yeah,
example, like I actually have the problem that like I feel like I'm not getting motion sick, but I feel too closed off from my environment. So when I have the headset on and the headphones on, I really can't see. Do my kids walk into the room or what is happening around me? And
yeah.
I have to admit that this news that we got this week from the official PlayStation blog actually might solve some of these issues. So let me tell you about some of the features that PSVR 2 will feature.
Yeah.
They announced a see-through mode, which means basically, even though you have your headset on, you can see your surroundings while wearing the headset, which is awesome. So they will have a camera outside, yeah, and you can actually like either through a push of a button or implement it in the game, like augmented reality, yeah. So you can see your surroundings. I really like that idea. They also announced that they will allow customized play areas, so you can basically define where is your space in which you can safely play, and once you exit that space with your hand, your foot, or your body or whatever, they will warn you are leaving the safe area. So I think like that is a fantastic
Yeah,
idea
that's a good addition.
um because yeah, people do have limited spaces and you have that headset on and then you don't know whether you will knock off
Yep.
your lamp or your trip over the couch or whatever. It is a fantastic idea, I think. They also announced a couple of things about broadcasting with yourself. So like they already have like streaming and the success of Twitch in mind.
Yeah.
They will have a new broadcast feature for PSVR 2, which will allow you to film yourself while playing and show your actual footage.
I think
And
that's actually a really good thing, because watching, you'd be surprised how popular watching somebody play a VR game is on the
yeah,
likes of Twitch.
absolutely. So they have that, and then they have a VR mode called a cinematic mode.
Yeah.
In that, players can enjoy the VR game content in a 360 surround view in a virtual environment. So content will be displayed in 40,000 by 2040 pixels in HDR with 90 hertz or 120 hertz frame rate. That's also a really cool thing to have as a feature. So yeah, man. Honestly, like that sounds that they really thought about a couple of restrictions that VR in general as a technology has,
Yeah.
and like for instance that customized play area. I really like that idea. So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing that I've ever had an issue with for me, it was never nausea. It was for me, it was eye strain. I used to get a lot
Okay.
of eye strain from playing VR. I've got it's my right eyes. I've got glasses. I barely wear them when I do this. I really should wear them more, to be honest. But from time to time, you'll see us put the glasses on streams and things like that. And that's when I've specifically when you work in front of a screen like I have for the last
Mm,
decade and a half. Um, it becomes more of an issue, and with VR being that close to a screen for like hours, it
yeah.
can cause some serious eye strain, even when you've got it kind of focused incorrectly. So, for me, the only thing is I'd like to be able to comfortably wear glasses whilst using a VR headset. I don't think any VR manufacturers really cracked that code yet, where it's comfortable to wear your specs whilst playing a VR headset. I think it's still a little bit more uncomfortable, a little bit more like presses your specs into your head and causes different kind of issues altogether.
Mhm.
Um, but I think, yeah, the additions they've got, the safe space area, I think is going to be a blessing. Um, the camera features are really cool, specifically, like you say, for knowing your surroundings. Because I've
Yeah.
seen some hilarious videos where kids have walked in front of them and they've went to do something and ended up pushing the kid over or accidentally punching the kid.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
it happens. It happens, and there's some funny videos there, or people just completely get absorbed into the game and like smash their TVs or knock over vases, or so I think being able to set a safe space and it gives you that warning, then at least you know, like this is I can't go over this way, or might stop you from breaking something in the house.
Hmm. Yeah, no, true. So yeah, we shall see. What do you think when will they introduce VR2 to the world fully, and when will it come out? What do you think?
You know, I think for them I think the only thing for them really that'll be causing an issue right now would be the price point.
Yeah,
What do we price this as? And bear in mind the current economic stature of the world
yeah,
and how pricey everything is going right now. Like that's going to be the hardest decision to make for them is like what realistically where is this price point going to be where we're not making a loss, because it's a different kind of technology than a console.
yeah,
um Specifically the fact that this isn't as much as it's going to be mass produced, it's not going to be mass produced to the same level of PlayStation
yeah, yeah.
or Xbox. So
I
it's
mean,
it's
even
it's
if like every 10th PlayStation owner buys that, that would be a massive success. Like
yeah,
in with the PS4, they had like what 120 million, 20 something
yeah, and they had about
million
2-3
consoles.
million or something.
Exactly. So that's like 1%, 2% of the owners actually bought a PSVR. So you're absolutely right. And then, like the general economics, well, do people have the money to invest in such an entertainment product? Obviously, there still will be people who will be able to
Oh,
afford it,
100%, yeah.
but
Yeah.
others are struggling to buy food, gas, energy, and whatnot right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true, true. I think like 23 is when it comes out. I
Yeah.
think we will see it at the PlayStation event that we all expect to happen in like September or so.
You really never know, because we haven't heard from PlayStation this year, and it could come out 23, but at the same time, it could be a case that the next event, whenever that event is in September,
Hmm.
that they unveil the price point and launch it before Christmas. I think that's a real possibility still to try and get in
Oh,
on that Christmas.
I I like that idea. I like that idea, especially given that like 23
and
is
if
so
another thing,
crowded already.
I was going to say to this as well, games like the Horizon VR game that they've got coming.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting the name of it, but that one is still scheduled for 22.
Is it? Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know. Oh, all right. Yeah. Well, then it. I like that possibility. I definitely do. And I mean, they have shown games for it. They have announced a bunch of features for it. So it
yeah,
kind of feels like they are more advanced than people might think with the development. So
yeah. I think it's for them as well. Launching PSVR in launching prior to that holiday season or just on that holiday
mm,
season would bring the spotlight and the focus back onto
yeah,
PlayStation again, and I think that's what they want to do. And
with
I
like
think
God
it,
of War and the
yeah,
PSVR 2, they
yeah,
would
it's
definitely
a
have
big
the
holiday.
spotlight. Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a big holiday, and I think they'll do it. To be honest, I think they'll very much do it. For me,
Interesting.
obviously, it's not going to be a day one because I'm going to get a PlayStation in the next few months. The PlayStation 5. Again, I've mentioned this before. Give up mine on pre-order so somebody else could have it. When that came out, and I didn't have a necessity to get it then when everything started being cross-platform. But now I do want one because they're just not performing the same.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to get a PSVR if it launches this year, because of course that would be an almost like 1,200. I would imagine something like close to 1,200 outlay on
Yeah.
hardware. That's a significant amount, and going up to the holidays and
Yeah. Yeah. I agree. I agree. Man, speaking of gaming events, when we
yes,
touched upon the well assumed PlayStation event in September, there has been another big gaming event confirmed this week by the likes of Jeff Keighley. He announced the Gamescom opening night live on
yes,
August 23rd,
yep,
starting 8 p.m. Central Europe, 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. UK time. Yeah, that's when I will be on the family vacation in Italy with the kids, going camping with the kids and wife in that week. So I will be watching that while sitting on the beach.
yeah.
But yeah, man, are you looking forward to that Gamescom opening night?
I'm just looking forward to Gamescom again. I think
Mm,
we know Xbox is going to be there.
yeah.
So I don't think Sony are there.
No,
Sony aren't at
Sony and
Gamescom.
Nintendo are not going to be there. Activision and EA are not going to be there. So
Yeah,
actually, a lot of the bigger publishers bailed out this year
yeah,
from Gamescom. It's going to be an in-person event, by the way. So
yeah,
with no limitations so far. Well,
yeah,
you never know. Still a month left, and yeah, COVID is going crazy again over here. So
yeah.
you
And I
never
know
know. But
Xbox is doing a fan fest for it again. That's already confirmed.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so
They
there's,
said, well, but they also said no new big announcements. It's just
oh yeah,
updates on already announced stuff at
yeah,
Gamescom. So, yeah, I mean, traditionally, Gamescom was like the hands-on event. So,
yeah,
before E3 opened up to the masses and the public, it was like always okay. The announcements came at at E3, and Gamescom was that event where the media and the influencers and of course the community got their hands on the games and got to actually play them on the show floor.
yeah,
So yeah, I think like well, Gamescom opening night wasn't the biggest event over the last years, but it also wasn't the smallest. And uh, there were always like a bunch of like a handful of cool announcements and releases or trailers at this showcase. So yeah, and since we are in that dry streak of announcements and news, I'm looking forward to. I'm always enjoying a good, well put together game show, and
yeah,
yeah, I'm looking forward to see what will be announced at that
definitely.
showcase. Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be things that weren't ready in E3 territory,
Mhm.
that are now ready to be shown. Again, sometimes it's just a couple more months or a couple of months,
Exactly.
etc.
Yeah.
So there's going to be some stuff to be shown. We know what when even the second showcase that Xbox did. They said, don't expect anything new, it's just updates. And then we got some awesome little indie games that were announced that we weren't expecting.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a few little surprises, I do believe, but nothing huge. There's going to be nothing like that. But updates from games we already know about, could be anything, which is great. And again, we've already seen what the next 12 months looks like. So I think Xbox have got a little bit more, and for Gamescom specifically, okay, we'll show them a few trailers of things that are outside of that 12-month period that they already know of. So I think it's still going to be exciting to see. And again, having more game news and learning about new games and things like that across Gamescom, it's going to be great anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome.
Yeah. I see Happy Cloud Gamer in chat asks if I'll be at Gamescom. Yeah, man, that was the plan. I already had my hotel and everything set up. But yeah, and the annual family vacation was actually scheduled this year for June because it was supposed to be the last year where we are not bound to school holiday seasons because my oldest son is going to start to go to school this fall. But then he had an accident, broke his arm multiple times, had to have multiple surgeries, and we had to cancel the family vacation. And the only week where we were able to move it was that week where Gamescom is. So I had to cancel my Gamescom plans in order to go to the family vacation. And as much as it sucks to not be at Gamescom, I'm very much looking forward to games to the family vacation in Italy. So yeah, so that's why I won't be at Gamescom this year, unfortunately. But yeah, man, there are so many other things we could talk about, but we also need to discuss some of the really fantastic community questions. So last topic, real quick, is about Knights of the Old Republic, KOTOR the remake. Has it been cancelled? Reportedly, it has been paused, delayed indefinitely, with the future of the game set to be up in the air. We heard that actually two key figures at the studio Aspire Media were fired. The game design director Brad Prince and the art director Jason Minor were fired earlier this week. This comes as a reporting from Bloomberg. So yeah, man, let me hear your thoughts about this. Do you think this game will still come out eventually, or is it cancelled? What do you think? What could be the reason?
Yeah, I mean that it seems like the writing's on the wall with that one. They showed a vertical slice, and after that vertical slice was shown, the two head guys, the directors, were then fired. So to me, it sounds like I don't think it would have been from a visual perspective. I think from a technical perspective, that game, there was something seriously wrong with it, which is why it has essentially been pushed back. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts from scratch and things begin again. But yeah, it's such a strange thing to be in, and it must have been in such a bad way for them to have to get rid of the two leads for that. I don't think I've seen a game in development get rid of the two main guys after they've showed off a vertical slice before. I can't remember the last time that happened, or if it happened.
I mean, we know about games getting cancelled, like Scalebound comes to mind, but obviously, like canceling, firing two of the key studio figures is yeah. I can't recall anything like that. So yeah, it is weird. We really don't know much about what went on behind the scenes. And like I've also seen a lot of people like, firing people is really harsh, and I don't know. I'm actually it's probably not a popular opinion to have. I'm in general, I'm not against that option to let people go, especially
Yeah.
when they are like in lead positions. Those
Yeah, it falls on
executives,
there. It's to be honest, and it sounds horrible, but it's
yeah,
better to get rid of the guy in charge because it ultimately falls on his head. He's the guy that's meant to be
exactly.
managing everything. Than it
And
is to
it
give all
kind of
of the
comes with the
developers.
paycheck. Yeah, you
Yeah.
get they make very good money in an executive position, and at the end, you got to deliver. And if you can't do that, you didn't do your job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know what happened here, but man, I was looking forward to a KOTOR remake. KOTOR is one of the best Star Wars games ever made. So yeah, yeah, we will see if that game comes to light eventually. But I could also see that this just disappears in nowhere, and we will never ever hear about it again.
Speaking
Yeah,
of announcements, though, and shout outs to I've forgotten who it was in chat. I put it in the private chat before. Bearzad.
Bezat, yeah,
Annapurna did their showcase today, and they've
yeah,
announced multiple games.
true.
Multiple.
That is
Today,
interesting. I have to look it up because they had their showcase like in parallel to this show.
yes.
So
So
obviously
to
we
give,
couldn't.
I've got the names here anyway. I'll just ring out the
Yeah,
names of the
please.
games and who they're coming to. So we've got a new game called Thirsty Suitors by Outer Loop Games, coming out on Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, Steam, and the PC demo is available now. We have another new game from Hindsight Games. I don't actually know what the name of it is. Actually, I haven't stated it on here. Hindsight, actually, sorry, it is Hindsight the game. Another one called Bounty Star by
Mhm.
Dinogod, coming to Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, 2023. Outer Wilds has now and Outer Wilds and Echoes of the Eye DLC by Mobius Games will be coming to Xbox Series X and S and PS5 on September 15th with native 60
That's
frames
cool.
per second.
Mhm.
Pathless, The Pathless from Giant Squidology will be coming to Xbox and Switch this winter. Maquette, coming this winter to Xbox and Switch. Solar Ash by Heart Machine HQ will be coming to Steam on December 6th, also to Xbox Game Pass this winter. What Remains of Edith Finch now has a native Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5
Oh,
support
nice.
with
Highly
4K
recommend
frames per
that game.
second.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, it is.
Current owners on Xbox One and PlayStation 4 can upgrade for free.
Sweet.
Flock is a multiplayer co-op game about the joy of flight and collecting adorable flying creatures with your friends. Soar through the beautiful landscape, seeking out rare and elusive creatures to add to your flock. Coming to Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam. Another one called Hohokum is a kite flying game, which is available on Steam now. Another new one. I don't even know if they've got a name for it yet. Let's have a quick scan through. Nope, no. There's another new game that's only just been announced. Doesn't have a name yet though, so I'll skip past that for a second. And The Lost Wild from Creative Games will be coming to Steam, and that is it so far.
Nice. Man, Annapurna is on fire. I mean, Annapurna is one of the best indie publishers, I would say. Like
Oh yeah,
they have
them and
uh
Devolver.
yeah, them and the Evolver, they have always such fantastic indie games. So yeah, man, I definitely need to check out that list more in detail, and then we could bring that up next week again,
Yes,
when we have all had the chance to actually watch the trailers and
watch them
such.
all the trailers. Yeah, I've
Yeah,
just
yeah.
retweeted all of them on my timeline. So if anybody wants to go and see some of the
There you
trailers
go.
later on, they're on my timeline.
Very convenient for you. And if someone is not already following this gentleman, you can find the link to his timeline and his Twitter profile right in the description of the show notes. So definitely check that out. All right, man. But I think it's time to move to the community questions.
Yes.
There we go. I see that is already
The
feeling at
jingles.
home that with the jingles and such. So yeah, man. Each and every Wednesday, I put up the question on YouTube, on Twitter, for people to write in community questions so that they can be a part of the show, even if they can't make it live to this. Because I always say the world of gaming is a show from and with the community. Literally, you guys make this show to what it is. Chat is always on fire. We have awesome discussions in the comment sections and, of course, on Twitter. And so yeah, I can't thank you guys enough. You power the show and drive us to do what we do, and it wouldn't be the same without you. Obviously, man. So yeah, we have so many great questions. This week was like literally the record breaking a week,
Last week it was the record, and we're breaking the record again.
and it is insane how many awesome questions we sent in. So I could just stop for 2 weeks or so and ask for new questions because we have enough questions to fill like at least 3 shows. So let's see to how many we will get this week.
Yeah.
But I can't thank everyone enough for writing in. And there are some really good ones, some really, really good ones. So Sith Lord is the first one, and he says, asks, now that you two are a team, do you guys have a team name or a nickname? I like Wandering Box or Boxen Dorch. Man, not yet. I feel like
Wandering
that's
Burger.
Wandering Burger. Yeah, I've seen stuff. Sean put that up on Twitter. So yeah, man. I think we leave that up to the community. Dave Ramos writes in and he asks, "Can you share a little bit on how you two got to this point? I would enjoy a little hashtag backstory, and we offer a big welcome to Wandering Dutch on joining the show."
Yes, indeed. So, backstory for me is for anybody who doesn't know, I actually joined the gaming Twitterverse probably 3 years ago now. Maybe it's a tad more, but I was never doing content creation then. I was actually just on for the gaming like everybody else, trying to find gaming news, created a whole separate thing that was separate from following normal people in football and things like that. So anything that's on this Twitter profile is strictly gaming or related to gaming. It's got nothing to do with things outside of that. But when I first created it, the one thing that I was putting on here was the custom consoles and custom controllers and things that I was creating.
Yeah.
And that's where I gained my initial following, was for the artwork I was doing on custom controllers and consoles, of which I've made now a lot of kind of custom pieces for people, whether it be Sea of Thieves or Series S or Gears of War 5, Xbox One X, or whatever it was. That I've done numerous kind of consoles, a Fable Series S, a Hellblade Series X, customized PlayStation 4s and controllers galore. I've lost count of the amount of controllers I've done now. Doing a PlayStation 5 one as we speak as well, actually, for Vin. Be doing another one when I've got that, but that's where people originally started following me. So that's when I got into the community a bit more and become friends with the likes of Cole Eastwood and Dealer and the Iron Lords and everybody in between. And knew Aaron Greenberg for years beforehand from my own personal account. So followed us over to this one when I merged it over. So it's kind of, my community's built on Twitter first and foremost. And then I got into podcasting. It was just mainly, I wanted to see what it was like. Much like a lot of people have done on Boxenberger's channel last week and on my channel kind of weeks before and on Boom Show, etc. I started off in the same way. So I went on to see what podcasting was like and to see if I liked it and enjoyed it enough. Wanted to try my hand at it. Loved it. I got invited to RDX, to Iron Lords, to Boom Show, to Season Gaming, to Wilmy Hood Show. There was so I did all of those podcasts. Really got the bite for it. Really got the urge for it. And then hit up all of these guys, Boxenberger, Irwin, Patcher, Chambelon, and was like, right, want to create our own podcast. Are you guys game to do that? And it was a case of, yeah, it was pretty straightforward. It started with Boxenberger, I think, joined us kind of 1 or 2 weeks after we started. But we started then. The first episode, as everyone's first episodes of a podcast are nervy as hell. Specifically when you're hosting for the first time, everyone's so shy. You're kind of just blankly staring at the camera, like you should be, like more of in an interview than you're just chatting with friends. But that was my first taste of hosting the podcast, and of course now 2 years later, we're on our podcast Midweek Mix Up is up to almost 100 episodes now. It's mid 80s. Of course, Boxenberger's got his own channel now as well, and we're all on this awesome show. So many awesome memories and awesome things, but it all started with just simply reaching out to our favorite creators at the time, and our kind of should we say the people we look up to in the space, and the content creators, and asking them for help, and for them for a platform to kind of try out for the first time. So that's how I got into it, and again, that's why we do it as well, because we love and enjoy doing this, and it comes with its trials and tribulations and its stresses. Sometimes it's dry as hell. Other times it's so busy you don't even know what to do next, or how am I going to fit it all in. Like showcase season is just manic. But you enjoy it nonetheless. There's hard points. The one thing I always say about it as well is try not to look too much at the statistics and things like that, specifically when you're starting out, because all the stats and the views and things at the beginning mean nothing. They mean absolutely nothing until you get higher up the echelons, and then you need to start thinking about, where is the demographic watching this? What don't they like? What do they like? And then trying new things. And it's always, when you're a content creator, about trying different things and seeing what works. Not just for the community, but for you. What do you enjoy doing? And if you're doing things that you just feel like you're grinding out all the time, and it's not particularly making you happy creating it, then don't do it. Even if the views are great, but you're not enjoy doing it, don't force yourself to do it. Do something that you enjoy. I think that's the main thing I would always put forward. But yeah, it's 100% for me. Thankfully, it was just reaching out to content creators that I admire, having a level playing field, not being toxic, having a good viewpoint, having good discussions, and being able to have those good discussions with people, and being given that platform. And I think that's what we like to try and do as well, both myself, Boxenberger, and others within the community, is give others the opportunity to try it out for the first time, and kind of even assist them if they're trying to start a podcast for the first time, or content create for the first time, because it's not easy. There's a lot you need to think about and learn. What do and don't I need at first? Do I need a camera? Don't I need a camera? Do I get a microphone? Don't I get a microphone? So much, but that's my backstory anyway.
Man, thank you so much for giving us that insight. It is. I've heard the story before, because we grew together. Kind of. We met early in the days when before we did content. Both of us. We just met, and we were little guys on Twitter. I mean, we still are, but like I wasn't even, I think, at 100 subs or followers. I mean, so that's when we met, and we kind of shared that journey. I'll give my brief journey in a second. Just want to say a big thank you to Sourblow18. He sends in $2, $2 super chat. Thank you so much, man. And he says, with gas, you can be burger with Dutch sauce. I love it. And I have actually talked to Gas. He's gonna come on the show. We just need to figure out when, because we have some scheduling errors in the weeks where he can. I will be on vacation and vice versa, and so it's like, but we will make it happen eventually. So I'm really looking forward to having Gas on. And I also need to change the gameplay.
A sacred guardian should grant.
I ran out of Stray gameplay. So there we go. Yeah, what about my backstory? Well, I started super early, like 15 years ago or so ago, on different forums. Before we had like Twitter and such. And then there was one forum which is it's basically now also a website, and it's the biggest Xbox news website in Germany. And there was a very super active user on their forum and their website, like the comment sections and such. And we had a great community there, but it was always like a German community. And at some point, I decided to be more active on Twitter, because like I used Twitter I had my Twitter profile for like couple of years already, but I only used it as a kind of a news feed. Well, I sub to all the guys I followed were like all the news websites and such. So I had my news accumulated in one place. That's how I used Twitter for a long time. And then I decided to go, so many news broke through Twitter. Like there was a period in time where I felt like every Xbox news I read was like, well, Phil Spencer announced this on Twitter, or this or that was announced on Twitter. And so I decided to give Twitter a little more of a chance. So for some reason, I gained a couple of followers there. It still surprised me to this day. And but from there on out, I was then approached by actually Mr. Boomstick. He said, like, dude, you're such an awesome guy to talk to about gaming. You want to come on my show? And I was like, dude, I'm not even a native English speaker, so I was a little shy, obviously. But I gave it a chance, and then I had a blast on that show. And from there on out, I was invited to a couple of other podcasts. So I guested a lot on different podcasts. And then people were kind of like asking me actually and approaching me like, why don't you have your own YouTube channel or something? Why you're so passionate about gaming, you have strong opinions. Why don't you do your own YouTube? And I was playing with the idea, but I never found the time because I didn't know how to edit videos or record audio properly and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm so busy with the kids and the job and everything. And then the pandemic started, and I was like, everyone in my company was sent on leave for a couple of weeks, actually months, and I was sitting at home. Everything shut down, and in March, I think it was March 2020, I decided, well, if I don't do it now, I don't know when I will be doing it. And so I used the free time to learn how to edit videos and such. And of course, the videos were nowhere near the quality that they are now. And they still have a long way to go. But it's still up there, by the way, if anyone is interested. I never deleted a video. So you can go back to the very first poor, crappy Boxenberger video. And yeah, from there on out, the rest was history. It was a fantastic time for video game news 2020, like the lead up to the consoles. And the community grew. And that is actually what kept me going. Like the interactions with the people in the comment sections, and obviously now in the live chat of the show and so on. It was just like, it it is why I do it, because I love to talk about gaming with people. And yeah, that's basically how this entire thing started. And then of course you get to meet other content creators such as yourself, but a lot of others, and you get invited on other shows, and it just goes. It's a natural flow at some point, and it's what is so awesome. There's a community of content creators out there. There's a community of passionate gamers out there, and I really see myself still as just a regular gamer, just someone who likes to put out his thoughts as like a starting point for a discussion. And I always say that I also appreciate the discussions when people don't agree with me. It's totally okay to disagree with an opinion or of mine. I think especially those kind of conversations strike up to be interesting. So yeah, that's basically our history. Awesome, man. Awesome. It's been a wild ride, and
yes,
fantastic one. So far. And I don't see myself to stop slowing down, honestly. I want to get back to doing more videos, but it is really like, I'm kind of missing the proper topics. Like, it takes me really 6 to 8 hours to make a video. So if I do it, I want to do it because I'm really passionate about that topic, and I think like it's worth investing 6 to 8 hours in it. And yeah, like we said earlier, it's a weird time in gaming right now. Not a lot of big news.
One last thing I'll say as well, and I was told this. I was told this by several big content creators: Cool Eastwood, Dealer, Iron Lords, and everybody in between. Iron Lords are a standout because they've managed to get to 10,000, 12,000 subs based on a podcast and then added content. So they're a standout, but the vast majority of content creators will start with the videos and then do the podcast. And I understand why as well, because if you're starting as mainly a podcast channel, it is a far slower and more grindier climb up to those echelons
to get
than it is when you do videos first and then do podcast. You're likely to get more views, more subs, etc. through content creation in video form much quicker than you're ever going to do it as solely a podcasting platform. So I've did it back to front. So I'm podcasting platform and the occasional video. So it's far different on ours. So depending on which route you go to and how difficult you want that journey, I would say if you want a slightly easier ride, video form first, then implement a podcast afterwards. But
absolutely.
Yeah.
And maybe one last thing before we get to a couple of other community questions. If you're thinking about doing content, maybe on YouTube, maybe on Twitch, maybe whatever, TikTok, I don't know, whatever is your jam, don't hesitate to ask people for advice, help, and you'd be surprised by how welcoming the content creator scene is. I truly was surprised, and obviously, if you have any questions about doing anything, just hit me up in the DMs, and I do what I can. All right, but I want to move on. Peter writes in a juicy question.
Okay.
He asks, will Forge be the spark that reignites Halo in the multiplayer community?
No.
It's plain and simple. I agree.
Yeah.
Care to elaborate?
It's going to be awesome. We had this discussion yesterday. It's going to be awesome. There's going to be a lot of awesome content that comes out for it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a little while until the Forge community gets into it and gets their content out anyway. It's not going to be an overnight thing. There's going to be obviously some Forge content there at launch from people who've been beta testing it and alpha testing it behind closed doors. And some of those content creators that have worked with in the Forge community that are already working on content now. But realistically, it's going to be the hardcore that stick around and play with Forge regardless. It's going to be that hardcore Halo community that are there and playing the game consistently.
Yeah.
Is it going to be the general public and the casuals coming back to Halo for Forge? Absolutely not. No.
Yeah, I feel like you're right. Listen, if Halo is able to drop a really good Forge, and so far Forge looks good, and if they will drop a season 3 filled with content, which I don't see happening, but let's assume that, or if they drop the battle royale mode somewhere in mid-end next year, think like it's not gonna reignite the spark. The thing is, obviously, in our Twitter bubble, there will be passionate gamers that will play Halo again, and especially on Forge and content created by the community. But it is nothing that will draw in the masses, and so player numbers will decline very soon. It will get a little spark, and then it will drop off again. And it's just, I think like 343 had their chance, they had their window, and now Halo Infinite has a certain reputation, and to get rid of that, it needs more than a Forge and a co-op added to the game. And I've said it before, I think yesterday on your show as well, Dutch. It is at this point, I kind of feel like 343 should really take a step back, reorganize their studio, and release a new Halo Infinite 2 or whatever it will be called in like 3, 4, 5 years, something like that. I'm not sure, but there seems just something fundamental wrong within the studio, and I don't think like minor content drops will change that. And Forge is cool for the very, very diehard Halo fan base, but that's about it. So
I mean, put it this way: it's going to be. Obviously when Forge releases and there's awesome new content in Forge, and I'll be messing around with it myself because we put together some awesome community nights every now and again. Play around with the physics and play around with the maps that we're playing on, and having hammers only with zero gravity and stuff like that, and being able to add a few more kind of limitations or additions to those kind of game modes is going to be hilarious fun. But it's not something we're going to be sticking by kind of religiously. We're not going to be playing it every day. We're not going to be playing it every week. But we're going to be maybe once a month. We'll get to it. We'll have a good community night, and that's it. But it's certainly not going to be something that people are going to be jumping back into and playing long term. I still don't think right now Halo has that long term grab the way you want to go into it, like the likes of a Warzone, or a Call of Duty has, or a Destiny has, or anything like that. That's the issue.
And all these games will get new releases, like Modern Warfare 2 is coming out this year, Warzone 2 is coming early next year, and then we also have all these other games like Forza Motorsport coming, Redfall coming, Starfield finally releasing, like a Diablo, we talked about that earlier, hundreds of hours of content at launch. Plus all the stuff they are gonna add later. I just don't see it happen, and I kind of feel bad for saying it because, I truly do like the Halo IP, and I honestly think Halo Infinite was a good game at launch. It was a great game at launch. I was one of the very few people that really was like, man, that campaign. I liked that. I liked where they took the story. I absolutely. And like core gameplay mechanics, fantastic. But they should have just released it as a regular multiplayer game and not make it an ongoing live service game, because for that they didn't have the pipeline and they knew it. And that was a mistake. And it's we've seen other games did see a turnaround, like Sea of Thieves. But I feel like it was a different story. Like Sea of
It is,
Thieves
yeah. I
had
think
the goodwill of the community, and
yeah.
Halo just doesn't right now.
Yeah, that's the issue. The community, again, because of the issues, a lot of the community's done, essentially
Yeah.
just already given up on it, and it's going
Yeah.
to take something monumental to get to win them over.
Yeah.
It's not to say the game won't be great again in a couple of years. It depends on how the next 12 month goes for that game.
Yeah.
And it is like, it's not a short-term fix by any means. It's a long-term fix they need.
Yeah.
But it all revolves around content and how you earn things in that game as well, and the reward system. Things like Sea of Thieves, like Destiny, all of these big games as a service games that we've mentioned have, and unfortunately Halo is a games as a service game. It's been mentioned as a 10-year game. Of course,
Yeah.
I don't know whether or not they went back on that now, but it was mentioned as originally as a 10-year game, which puts it in the games as a service catalog. It needs to have a much quicker turnaround on content output.
Yeah.
They
And
can't
way
do
more
what they did.
significant updates
Yeah,
as well. Like if you think about 10 years, so we're talking really well into the next console generation, and I'm not talking the enhanced consoles. Yeah. It's
It's what they need to do, and like I say, they can't do what they did this year and have 2 seasons the entire year. It's when you look at others like the likes of Fortnite, and you look at like I say, your Warzone hasn't changed its map really, but if you have a look, at the likes of Warzone and how many players are still playing that religiously, and then you have a look at all
they because
Sea of
they still
Thieves and
they still have content.
yeah,
It
and
all comes down like you have 2 new maps in the first year, and there you are. Yeah, but man, let's move on from Halo. I think we need something we are more excited. And I want to mention something from Syed Dawa Hussein. I think I hopefully pronounced his name wrong. If not, I apologize, man. He says, "Why are you not excited for Evil West? That's all I want to know." Man, I am, but I for some reason, whenever I think about the list that comes out this year, I forget about Evil West. But you're right; it does look fantastic. What do you think?
Yeah, exactly the same. It looks absolutely fantastic. And again, when we mentioned the games that we're most looking forward to this year, I completely forgot about it again. But yeah, it's definitely up there. I can't wait to see what that game's all about. Really, we know what we've seen in the gameplay. The gameplay looks absolutely awesome. It's a mashup of so many awesome kind of games we've played before, rolled into one. The world looks awesome. The combat looks fun. It looks beautiful in its art style and the graphics and everything that goes along with it. It's just about getting our hands on and seeing what it's about. What is this game about?
Absolutely. Retri asks, will pardon me, I have to rephrase it. I think I forgot to copy the first sentence. So I'm paraphrasing now his question. Will the studio okay, it's about High on Life.
Okay.
Will they have their breakout success? He loves to see AA studio get a AAA success.
I think this is, you know what it is? I think it is very much an opportunity for them to be that success. They've mentioned it before. You know, there's I love the honesty with the developers as well when they did the interview on that second Xbox show. And they were like, this is our first real foray into making and what they would class as a triple-I game. A real big kind of high budget indie game. They are relatively new to it, but they again, it's Rick and Morty. If you love Rick and Morty and the silliness and weirdness that comes along with that, you're going to love the game anyway. They've already got a smaller game out already that is available on Xbox. Keep forgetting the name of it. Stuff Sean might know it and could put it in chat for us. But that game's absolutely awesome as well. So if you want to kind of get an understanding of what the game's about or what the game will be like, that game that is out now, which is a much smaller title, is readily available to play. But I think personally, I think it's going to be a success. And I think the more people, specifically Rick and Morty fans who follow these guys, and Rick and Morty's huge, I think them seeing that game's coming out is going to drive a lot of people to play that game because they're just like, this is wild. This is so fun. And it is. It's not often you see a game and you think this is just silly and it's fun. A lot of games these days are like very serious games and like, oh, this is an action shooter and it's got a very serious tone to it. This one is not serious at all. You've got knives that talk to you and guns that shoot their offspring out, and it's such a weird game, but that's what you need. Sometimes you need levity, and I think games like that have got every chance of being successful.
I can't add anything to that, and you're absolutely spot on. Let me think. Skatelites. Is this a Skatelites?
Skatelites? I don't know.
Hang on, I highlighted the wrong comment here. Skatelites? Yeah, for the $5 super chat. Thank you, man. He writes in and says, great show, guys. Wandering Dutch figured out a new way to generate clicks today with his mic. Joke, no issues now. So
thanks for the help earlier.
Yeah. All right, man. Thank you so much for that super chat. Another community question comes in from Volcanic X. He asks, we know PlayStation is redoing its rewards program. Do you think Microsoft rewards are still good compared to the changes that will be made by PlayStation, or do you think Microsoft will have to change elements of their rewards program?
No. I'm glad PlayStation are eventually getting a rewards program. If you see some of the people, specifically if you game a lot on Xbox and you don't mind playing a whole host of games, they've got a lot of. Specifically, we have a look at the challenges for the month on Xbox Rewards, and it's like play this game and get this many kills with this thing, or go on this game and collect this much gold, or go on this game and do this. Like if you complete all of those challenges, like you can rack up some serious points. Like Xbox Mick, for instance, has £300 worth of Xbox reward points. So he's got enough to go out and get a Series S for free for just completing the rewards. That's on top of getting money back for buying games in the first place, so you get reward points for buying games, completing challenges, doing Bing searches. So if you don't use Bing now and tie it to Xbox Rewards, because for every search you do up to a certain amount, you get reward points for that. You get reward points for other kind of random quizzes on Bing. So there's so many tie-ins for Xbox Rewards now, and they've altered it in some way, shapes, or form. There are certain kind of things once a year they'll do where it's like you can, for every bit of gamer score up to 10,000 gamer score, you get a point. So you can earn up to 10,000 in a month on some of these challenges sometimes, which is the equivalent of £10. That's on top of any other points that you earn for other things. Then you've got these bonus cards that are like 2,000 and 5,000 and things like that. So there's so many. And it's like daily rewards for just turning on Xbox games. So to see PlayStation bring something out like that, to be honest, it's going to, first of all, it's going to increase the amount of different games people are playing on PlayStation based on the challenges that they put in the rewards scheme. It's going to change the amount that people are actually spending on games based on the rewards thing, because on Xboxes, they've got pre-order bonuses. So if you pre-order, if you go into the challenge thing first and have a look at games that are there and have a bonus card on before you pre-order them, you get like 6,000 points. So it's going to change the mentality of people on buying games as well, because they're like more inclined to not only do you get points anyway for buying that game, but you also get the pre-order bonus of several thousand points with it. So there's so much benefit that comes along with it, and it's more about interactivity and giving back to people that are investing in your platform anyway. And it's just going to, all it does, even though you're giving away these points, is getting more people to interact with the games and the platform and buy more stuff, kind of all the way through. So I don't think they need to change Xbox. I think they both have different ways and how they want to do it, and that's great.
Yeah,
but I think
I agree there. I think like one thing that I would appreciate them to do is like a better app integration. I feel like it's really annoying to get to track actually your rewards program and such. So like a better app integration, more transparency there also would be cool. But other than that, I feel like it's good. But I want to mention one thing that Besat wrote in the chat.
Yeah,
Is that
that is
Xbox
true.
rewards is missing in many countries, Austria among them. And I feel for you because that brings us to a general problem that Xbox has. Like they are really not consistent across the globe. Like in many countries, there's lack of support for many key functionalities. Like there are countries across Europe where you can't pay with a credit card in the Xbox store, so you literally have to buy a gift card in a store, stuff like that. And others, localization is completely missing, and other features are not available. So yeah,
they've
if
got a lot of
Xbox,
work to do on that front.
yeah. If Xbox is serious in like reaching 3 billion gamers around the globe, I don't think it's enough to open a lot of data centers. You actually have to put in the effort to get better localization, and that includes, of course, making things like the rewards program available to everyone. Yeah, man, we are coming to an end. I think like one last question to close off the show. Actually, I have two great ones. But I think that one of them is a little, could be a little longer. So if you have another 10-15 minutes.
Yeah, I'm good.
You're good. All right, let's do it. Ferris MD writes it. Do you think gaming helps people, and if so, why?
Oh, that's a good question. Absolutely. The strongest one I will always mention is mental health. And I don't mean gaming community specifically on this one. I mean gaming in general. The gaming community can have positive and negative effects on mental health, specifically on the likes of social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook, etc. But gaming itself is a whole nother story. Gaming is an escape from the day to day. It's an escape from the realities that some people face, whether that be depression or anxiety or family issues or problems like that you might be facing, or family illness. You might be looking after a loved one kind of for a significant amount of time throughout the day that are critically ill or unwell or something like that, and where they're down for a rest at the end of the day, and you're tired and you're just trying to switch off, and being able to get that kind of a little bit of time to yourself. Gaming provides that release and that escapism that some people need from these situations. So I think in any forms, and it can be any type of game, no matter what game it is, it provides that release to people. I think gaming in itself as a medium is a far better medium and device and kind of accessible media format than anything else when it comes to people being able to escape the day-to-day problems that they face. And then you've got the added bonus, like I say, in some cases, of finding friends in these situations, and then having that particular community of people that you can go to and speak to and just switch off and not worry about things for half an hour, 2 hours, a couple of hours a night, whatever it is you get, and just being able to do that. So yeah, it's an absolutely awesome. There is no other medium, I believe, in the world that has the same positive benefits to someone that gaming can have.
I agree. I agree. I want to read one comment from the chat from the General C. He says, gaming is a great way to escape reality. Helped me a lot during my mom's battle with cancer, especially RPG games. They were a big help for me. And thanks for sharing that. And I do hope your mom is doing well, man. But yeah, coming back to the question, I think gaming helps a lot of people in a lot of different ways. For me, gaming is like, yeah, it's escapism. It allows me to. I have a stressful job. I have 2 kids and real life issues, just like every other one, probably here in the community. And gaming is just taking my mind off of the seriousness of things. But gaming is also helped me to make and meet a lot of people that I really consider friends, like you, Dutch. It's like gaming is not just that moment where you play the video game in front of the TV or the PC monitor or such. I think like in this day and age, gaming is also being part of a community, meeting people, getting to share the passion and the excitement that gaming brings with others. This is also a strong part of gaming. So I definitely think like it helps people in so many different ways. And I think like this is something that is sometimes ignored in those conversations when like there's another mass shooting and then it's suddenly all over the media. Gaming is bad, or like the gamer is still depicted in movies and series like that isolated guy who sits in the basement of his mom.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but that's not what gaming is. Gaming is are regular people with regular everyday lives that just enjoy the best entertainment format there is. Like it can gaming invests you emotionally through telling a great story. It challenges your brain by exercising the hand-eye coordination. It is, like I said, it is a community thing. It is gaming is so much. And when I sit down in the evening and think about my preferred recreational activity, for me, it's not turning on the TV and just watching the next Netflix series. Like I do that too, I know, but like that my preferred entertainment format and my recreational activity of choice is gaming. I sit down, I get invested in a world, in a game, and it is therefore for me the best hobby in the world. So yeah, it helps people. It most certainly does.
Yeah, and again, the benefit to it as well, as you've mentioned, is it's a medium that allows you to invest in a world and be interactive with the world. It's not like a TV series where you watch it and you might invest in the characters, but you're not proactively part of that. Like you're not in that world. And games like your Skyrims and your RPGs and things like that, like it's your character, it's your world, it's you that's going through this, and it's your choices and your decisions, and it allows you to be invested in something that is completely not in this reality.
Yep, I absolutely agree. Last question of the day comes in from Anonymous at RSJFan05.
Yes.
What's your favorite Xbox game and why?
Ooh.
So he didn't really specify whether he means Xbox exclusive, like, wait, I have it here.
Exclusive.
Or if we he talks just means just general Xbox, but let's talk about some
exclusive
Xbox games. Favorite Xbox exclusive.
Oh, this is a tough one. You know, it's really tough because I've got different favorite games depending on the genre. And for many reasons. God, it's a tough one.
It really is. It really is. And I think, like, depending on the day, I give a different answer to that.
Yeah, I'm exactly the same. I would
So,
think if I'm
so
talking about
let's narrow
nostalgia,
it down.
yeah,
We obviously, there's Halo to
yeah,
me. I still think like Halo 3 is the best. I know a lot of people say Halo 2, and Halo 2 was probably the most innovative, but because it was that online experience that we had all for the first time on a console.
yeah,
But like generally Halo 3, then Gears of War, obviously.
yeah. For me, it would have been, if I think back to it. So I loved Halo 2's co-op campaign. Like, I didn't
Yeah.
play the multiplayer on Halo 1 or 2. Like, not properly. I played it with friends and had like 1v1s and 2v2s with friends and things, but I didn't play competitively online on those games. But I love the co-op campaign on Halo 2, which is why I love Halo.
Yeah.
But if I think about a game that I spent a lot of time, specifically on Xbox kind of 360, that I spent a lot of time on after work and things like that, with friends and having a good time and laughing and things like that, it would have been Gears of War. I think that for me is the standout franchise as to really what propelled me to get the Xbox 360 over anything else at that time. If we have a look back at kind of the original reveal trailer for Gears of War as well, is just one of the best trailers ever made
Oh yeah.
for a video game.
Like, it was really that jaw-dropping moment. It
Yeah,
was, yeah.
phenomenal. And then them playing the game for the first time was like it's that whole Halo moment all over again. It's that groundbreaking moment where you think they're onto something here.
Yeah.
And Gears of War was just phenomenal. And then the online was just so much fun. Like when we were doing 2v2 sniper battles across the maps and on canals. And I just remember playing that non-stop when that was out for ages. So I think if I was to weigh up the two, I love Halo for different reasons that I love Gears.
Same.
But Gears from 360 eras onwards has probably meant more to me than Halo has.
Yeah, I think I'm with you there. Like Gears, especially Gears 2, was for me that a game that was like, I have so many memories playing it. I played like like probably 10 times co-op that campaign. It's yeah, it is. What do people in chat think is are their favorite Xbox games? Because I want to mention a couple of others. There is like Oblivion is one I want to mention because, well, it's not first party, but it was at least Xbox exclusive. So yeah, and
Yeah,
Oblivion
we'll
was.
not get into Skyrim because we've all played hundreds of hours of Skyrim.
That's true, and Skyrim wasn't exclusive anymore. That also came out on
exactly.
yeah. So Oblivion is one I want to mention. I also want to mention KOTOR, which is really, really, really a good, incredible game. What else has there been over the years?
I think the first Forza Horizon was also a landmark.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching that trailer for the first time as well, that they unveiled Forza Horizon 4, and that was just like, what is this? Like, this looks absolutely awesome. And the open roads and being able to just drive anywhere, and the music and the feel of it, and it was like festival vibes and things. I was like,
Yeah.
what is this game? And that's got me into that as well. But it's what I said when we're talking about different genres. There's so many standouts, like Forza Horizon. When that first trailer dropped, that was just phenomenal. But Gears did the same, and as you mentioned, like your Oblivions and things did that, and yeah,
Yeah, it was Mass Effect.
Yeah.
I mean, we gotta mention that. Besat mentions in chat Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Does that count? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Incredible game. One of the best Metroidvanias ever made. Yeah, man. It's tough to say which is the favorite game, Xbox game. It really depends on the mood and genre you're looking forward to. But I love the question.
Yeah.
We
It like you said before, Boxy, it can change every week because we've
yeah
got so many fond memories of these huge titles that released across Xbox over the years,
yeah
and we've been lucky enough to live them when they've launched, and be part of the communities as they were starting off and growing and things like that, and experience them for the first
yeah
time, and it's those fond memories that make it such a hard choice because each
absolutely
one of these titles have standout moments. As you
yeah
mentioned, yours is Halo 3 for that. Mine would be Halo 2. Gears of War 1 and 2 for me were the standouts in that franchise,
Mhm.
and I think for both different reasons. One, because it was the first, again, that awesome trailer and the world was built, and
yeah
then two, the story just progressed so well. There was some really heartbreaking moments in the story in the second one where you'd really
yeah
got invested in the characters. Um, yeah, it's just each one of these games on any given day can be the standout game.
yeah I agree. Decado is mentioning Morrowind. Oh yeah, dude,
Yes.
Morrowind, so good at its time. Yeah, but man, I want to bring this show to an end. It's been an
Yes.
awesome 2.5 hours. Want to thank not just you, but also, of course, everyone who showed up and who will listen after the fact. And as always, the chat has been incredible. Let people know where they can find you and what you have coming up.
Yes, indeed. Again, thank you, and it's again awesome to be your new co-host for the world of gaming.
No, thanks
Honored,
again for doing
of
it.
course. Honored. Awesome community here as well. Awesome discussions. Great points as well from the chat. Looking forward to kind of progressing with this as well with yourself going forward. And speaking of some awesome guests together as well. But you can find me everywhere at Wondering Dutch. And of course, you can find me every Tuesday for on my channel for a Sea of Thieves stream that we do with about 8 of us. On Wednesdays, of course, the midweek mix-up podcast, and on Sundays, the weekend edition, which is more of a chill-out stream where we talk about pretty much everything in geek culture, whether that be Marvel or DC or comics or trading cards or games or TV series and movies, whatever it is, we talk about it. It's much more of a chill stream, so plenty of content over on our side. So again, thank you for having us, Boxy. Thank you to the chat once more. And yes, what about yourself?
Yeah, what about myself? No, first again, man, I'm looking forward to have you on each and every week. And starting next week, we will have guests again. So it's gonna be awesome. And thanks again for doing this. And if people don't already follow you or have subscribed to your channel, highly recommend it. And now I made definitely sure that the links are in the description because I made a little boo boo there. I copied the wrong links in there earlier, so that's fixed. Now, well, what do I have coming up? Still thinking about video ideas. I actually have a great idea for the next video. The thing is, I'm gonna celebrate my birthday this weekend, and will be busy with the birthday party. So I'm not sure if I will find the time to actually make that video. But I won't make it over the weekend, I'm gonna do that next week. And I'm always working on bringing on some more guests. I also want to bring on more developers on this show here. So that's where we are heading in here. But more to come soon. I will have an announcement hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, it's gonna be probably on on Monday, which is going to be an exciting thing for the community. It's not content related, but it's going to be a fantastic thing for the community. So definitely stay tuned there. Again, I want to thank everyone who showed up. The world of gaming wouldn't be the same without you guys. You rock big time and power this show. So thanks again for showing up. And I want to always end the show by reminding you to don't forget to game on.